The man aspires to be the bearer of the wilderness world.
Survive in the wild for 5 years without any tools. Zach first came to the wilderness 4 years ago, chose a vacant lot as a camp. Draw the size with a hand stroke, just enough to sleep on himself. Then pick up the free branches, start digging into the ground, and they dug up a lot of rocks. Zach put it all aside. This thing will be useful in the future. It's just that the pit is too strong, can't breathe at all. So Zach switched to a new position. Hold the ground with your hands. Dig with both feet. The efficiency has obviously improved a lot. After escaping the big contour, Zach went to collect some dead grass, then mix with the soil and start stirring. After pouring the water in the gourd, start with hands and mud. It's really not easy to live in such a big pot. Zach's legs are going numb. Just smoothed out the dirt on the ground. The next step is to wait for it to dry naturally, because I'm not carrying any survival supplies. I can only sleep on the ground, hungry all night. The next morning, Zach starts to accept the results. The ground is now as hard as stone. You can't break it with your hands. Satisfied, Zach finds a dead branch, cut out of stone like a hoe. Crazy output to the ground. Soon, he dug up a lot of dirt, then add water and dead grass to the soil. Mix the three evenly, 1 to 1. One big lump of mud is ready. It's just that the shape is not regular enough. Zach got some big rocks, surrounded by mud, so you can shape him into a straight moment. Shaped while the tiles are dry, Zach dug another handful of dirt to fill gaps in the foundation, wet with water, smooth with your hands. In this way, the cracked floor is also flattened. It's just that it's a pity not to do beautiful sewing in this craft. At this point, the bricks are almost dry. Take it out and see. Don't say it. It's really nice. Zach spent 2 hours following suit, made a bunch of bricks. Look at the results in front of you. Zach was tired, but content. That's the end of today's work. Get some sleep and regain your strength. Continue to work on the third day. Today's first task, just build the walls of the mud house. That's when Zach found out. Yesterday, his foundation didn't seem solid enough. That's a huge problem if it can't be solved perfectly, and then all that work was in vain. Zach sliced all around the foundation, add free withered grass, and continue to mix and stir, with the stone further fixed. And then you level the ground. When the foundation is almost fixed, Zach just started building the wall. Put the bricks made yesterday. Pieces add up. Luckily for Zach, the size of the tiles, it's very precise, makes it a lot easier for them to build. To be more stable, you need to add some water from time to time. Slowly, the walls have begun to see scale. Zach is also getting more and more motivated, and he found some branches and made an inner rock out of it and clay. This is a reserved spot for the fireplace. After all, it is impossible to do without fire in the wild, so it looks pretty solid to me. But Zach is still worried. Plus the twigs continue to hold. Clay is also essential. The water is absorbed by the clay into raw materials. Could make Zach's cabin more difficult. Before I knew it, it was already dark. Rest first and save your energy. Continue work tomorrow. Zach finished framing the mud house yesterday. Today, he's going to make the windows first. Quickly turn the wooden cun in your hand. Drill a hole in the wall, and we put a long brick on top of it. And the bottom is supported with wood. If the brick doesn't fall, even if this small window is ready. Online is the roof. The material is still the ubiquitous branches. Smash them with stones to the right length. Peel another layer of skin off the branch. Friends with physics knowledge already know. This step is to prevent the branches from rotting. After all, Zach is going to live here for 5 years. Haven't responded yet. Zach has already started the next step. Take out the freshly baked bark. Tie your head into a small rope. The roof he used a triangular structure. Put the woven branches on, and hold it in place with straw ropes. Before long, the roof outline was already visible with tiles. He's going to use dead grass. This thing is waterproof and warm. It's incredibly good stuff. And we strap them to the roof. And the hut is almost done. But that's not enough. Just been busy for so long. Zach stinks of sweat. Virgo, he naturally can't stand it. Hurry up and find a way to take a shower. He found this amazing plant. It's edible, and it's also used for soap cleaning. The jacket collects them all. Clean it in the freshly made pan. Mash and remove the saponin. This is the main ingredient in soap. Add water to the pot and bubbles will pop immediately. This is a pure natural shampoo and body wash. It can also be guaranteed to be washed clean. Zach has been tired all day. There's nothing more comfortable than washing incense, but he doesn't seem to want to rest yet. Zach, with a stick, collected some branches on the trunk. Bake by the fire. As the temperature rises, the branches also slowly melt into a brown viscous liquid. And this is the kind of paint that ancient Mayans made. The most primitive way. Zach covered the end of the twig with leaves. Start painting on the wall, although I don't understand what he is drawing, but it feels great. If you're bored, you can doodle. Hungry, of course, to eat. Near the base is the beach. Food and clothing is not a problem at all. Look at the long and wide seaweed. There are shells stuck to rocks. Zach grabbed 2 whole bowls of ingredients, returning home satisfied. Baking bowl with seafood, baked directly over the fire. Before the food is cooked, Zach made himself a bowl of water soup first. I feel warm all over. Not long after, the seafood is almost cooked. Zach quickly ducked. It's just that this pottery bowl is too small. Zach felt in the way when he gulped dry. So the next day, he was busy again. A caddy of dirt for free. Add water to make it softer, then slowly shape with both hands. This process requires patience. First, pinch out the basic shape of the pelvic floor. Slowly, layer by layer. After a while, the big rice basin will take shape. The lid is naturally indispensable, and it looks kind of like this. Zach took the pot outside, lay a match, and start firing, and it burned all night. But when Zach asked to accept the results, the horizontal cover was directly shattered to the ground. Zach comforted himself. At least the guy who ate is still there. But when he takes the head basin to the west to fetch water, I just found out that this rice basin still leaks. It's all for naught. But it doesn't matter. Failure is the mother of success. Zach encouraged himself. Start review. Which step went wrong? This time, he was more attentive. All the small gravel in the clay must be picked out. And the bowl is also made smaller. After it is completely shaped, leave it indoors and wait for it to dry naturally. Pay attention to the addition of firewood when firing. Reasonable control of heat. Reach the ideal temperature. Hard work pays off. Zach got a pretty solid casserole, although it doesn't look very good. But there is no problem with the quality at present. To further confirm the results, Zach put some water in it. Found no dripping. Even so, he was still a little worried. Dig a little more soap. The sap of this plant is waterproof. Zach heats it up to juice. Spread evenly on the bottom of the pot. Let him fully penetrate. Now, Zach is completely relieved. Then I made a simple afternoon tea. After drinking it, I fell asleep. Sleeping, Zach is awakened by the cold wind. Looks like it's time to sit in a gate. The edge of the nearby pond is covered with reeds. It is a good material for making doors, but that's not enough. And some wood for the frame. And slant on the mountain is resilient, just right for making rope. Tie the reed to the wood. Finally, install it. And the project is quite simple. It'll be ready in a minute. The wind in the house is much smaller. Zach started thinking again. The most important fireplace is not yet available, so he took out the bricks that were left over from before, repeatedly piled on the open space several times. Due to lack of experience, the construction of the fireplace Zach built and dismantled. Take it apart and build it again. Busy for a long time. Just build one that you are satisfied with. Wait for the fireplace to dry naturally. Zach couldn't wait to light the fire and try it out. Pick some ready-made sage. Put it in a pot and simmer at high temperature. Instantly fragrant. And I made a plate out of clay. Put the freshly caught fish on it. Boiled sage stuffed into fish maw. Finally wrapped in clay. Bake in the oven. The smeared clay will heat the grilled fish more evenly. The taste will naturally be more wonderful. After 49 hours of baking, the fish is almost done. It's just that I didn't master the strength when I took it out. Whole fish directly crushed. It's in two. Fortunately, it doesn't affect the taste. Zach puts the fish on the slate. Knock off the clay that sticks to it. The aroma of fish comes to my face. I took a piece and put it in my mouth and chewed it slowly. It's another delicacy to look at the expression. The taste of first love without any seasonings. It didn't take long for the fish to be swept away by Zach. The delicious fish completely aroused Zach's greed, so he went up to the mountain and picked some berries, clean water, and wild honey. Put it all in the baby gourd. Shake it every day. You can accept the results. Wait. 49 days later, filter the residue with coconut shells. Then Zach nervously brought the wine to his mouth. How does it taste? You won't know until you drink it. The aroma of millet wine fills the whole mouth. The more Zach drinks, the more addicted he becomes. After a while, he fell to the ground drunk. Never mind, get some sleep first. How time flies. Zach woke up from his sleep. I feel hungry again, and with the last successful experience, he is also very confident in his cooking skills. Let's do something different today. Melt on the fire the original candle made of beeswax first. This is Zach's only lighting tool. Although simple, is practical enough. After the beeswax melts, add an appropriate amount of champozzini. Wait for the liquid to cool and dry. Take advantage of this time. Zach pulls out the giant pumpkin that he has grown. There was no knife. You can only disembowel it with a stone. This process is also very laborious. I finally pulled one out of the pumpkin. It's a big hole. And then came the wild big apple. Cut it into cubes and stuff it into the pumpkin. After sealing, put it in the fireplace for high temperature baking. And the lights were made. Zach couldn't wait to experiment. Looks very satisfied. Pumpkin roasts too long. Instead, it allows water and nutrients to flow. So Zach quickly took out the pumpkin. Start flipping dry with homemade chopsticks. I have to say that although Zach is a foreigner, but these chopsticks are used in a proper way. I don't know. Such a free day. Do you like it or not? With the arrival of autumn, it gets hot and cold. So Zach set out to build a heating system. First, dig a hole in the back of the mud house. A layer of pebbles and fine sand is laid on the outside, and smooth it with clay, and we started to build these plumes. The remaining tiles came in handy again, just this time. What Zach is going to do is a complex heating system. Therefore, the size of the tiles must also be carefully selected. The earth bricks are laid into a large plane. After slowly waiting to dry, Zach comes in. Use a rock to pull out a wall clip on the roof, and we put the panels in place. The whole process lasted a week. Zach's heating system is finally done. It's actually a fireplace inside the house. You can heat and cook well, leaning by the fireplace. The heat made Zach dream. Wake up. Zach felt a cold wind coming in from below. Look down. It turned out that there was a hole in the middle of the pants. Although there is no one else around here, but Zach is also a civilized person after all. Still have to pay attention. And he came up to the top, gathered some wild silver grass. We extract the fibers from the grass. Patience weaves into a string, and the tip of slang is a natural stitch. Zach is great at building houses. This kind of delicate work is also not a problem. Soon the holes in the pants were sewn. Since the pants can be sewn, why don't you make a pillow, by the way? Lying on the floor every day is not the way. Zach is lucky. Accidentally discovered the gift of nature. These are bunny feathers. Another tuft of bird feathers was found not far away. Collect them all and bring them back to camp. Weave them with rope into a sand county, and it took about a month. The hair that Zach picked up one after another. A total of 30 meters long shaxian was made. That's enough to make himself a pillow, and Zach hangs it on the wall. The yarn is twisted in circles, from dots to lines to surfaces. Soon Zach had made a piece of gauze. Take out the mat woven from jongpyu. Check the size. And I used slangin and slangin. Slowly pass through the bottom of the gauze. The project was time-consuming and laborious. Before I knew it, it was already dark. Zach made it up all day and night. Then put the kagura mat and bird feather gauze, stitched together with slan rope. Leave a seam at the end. Tuck the kagura dumplings into the seam. Finally sewn up. This soft and warm bird feather pillow. Even if it's completely done, don't look at it. It's a little rough, but absolutely practical. Zach lay down and tried. Feel very satisfied. With this pillow, Mom doesn't have to worry about me sleeping soundly anymore. I'm just tired of the food on the mountain. Zach decides to go to the ocean to find some fresh ave. It only takes a few kilometers on foot. You can reach the beach on the Pacific coast. Zach dived headfirst into the sea. Soon a lot of kelp was discovered. Just as he was about to continue his search, there was a sudden gale at sea. Turbid water severely affects eyesight. Zach couldn't see the bottom of the water at all. You give up fishing. Went home with seaweed. This wild kelp contains mucus. Not only can it treat wounds, it's beautiful. Take a bite. The taste is a little astringent, so he hung the kelp on a rope to dry. Remove excess salt. After 3 days, the kelp was very dry. It became Zach's favorite snack. It is worth noting that kelp is also a favorite food for brown bears. Fortunately, Zach has not found any bear tracks for the time being, and Zach goes down and he catches a fish. He's going to make a grilled fish roll. Eat some sun-dried kelp, roll up the fish, then put it on the stove and bake. When baking, use a low heat, so the salt in the kelp, it will slowly penetrate into the fish. Make the meat firmer. After 40 minutes, the aroma of fish starts to run wild. Zach hurriedly took it down, tear off the kelp wrapped in the outer layer. The fish was found to be intact. Zach couldn't wait to quickly hide. Such delicious and nutritious food. Not in the city. Zach quickly ate all the little fish, and he started thinking, how do you deal with it? Animals that may compete with themselves for food. After thinking for a moment, he decided to make a meteor hammer. It's just the material of the hammer. You use stone. Well, punching was a big job. Think about it. Zach still decided to use old friend clay. Shape the clay into a ball. Put a small hole in the middle. Throw it in the fireplace and fire it. And then we string them all together. This is the legendary meteor hammer. Although the production is a bit rough, but the lethality is definitely leveraged. After all, The ancients used this thing to fight wilderness. In addition to that, and Zack used deerskin and rocks, made a weapon called the Bora 9. Just wrap the meteor hammer in deerskin. Zack experimented. The visual effect is very good. Should be able to take down a brown bear. This video ends here. Lock the Quest channel. The next issue will continue to be exciting.